Hello and welcome to SpaceEngine Exploration. So things are going to be a little bit different in this episode. I am recording on my laptop instead of my desktop because, yeah, I'm using my laptop primarily now. And, yep. So it's going to be 720p. It shouldn't really be too much lower like bitrate or quality or anything like that. It's like this laptop's pretty decent. It still has like the NVIDIA encoder on the GPU, so I shouldn't have to tax my CPU really. I'm not going to be flying to the center of galaxies as much because this laptop probably is going to crash a little bit more than my desktop, which is probably horrible because yeah, the game was very prone to crashing before. Here's the inside of a black hole. As you can tell, we just have a black screen. But as I zoom out, here's an example of how well it runs on this laptop. This laptop's running a 770M, so it's a little bit of an older laptop, but once you start flying out of like the center of the galaxies, as you can see there, it gets really clunky. But once you get away from the black holes and stuff, it's a little bit better. I did go through and balance the audio a hell of a lot better than the last episode. I apologize for the last episode. I did a sample recording. I'm not running through my mixer anymore. I'm just going straight through USB, straight to my laptop. And I did some sample recordings, and I would say it sounds a lot better. So I think I'm going to just stick with this setup for now. It's still going through my main microphone. My last video, Welcome to July, I just did that with a laptop microphone, and it was terrible. So now I got my proper microphone hooked up. So there's not much to talk about. Nothing's really changed since last week, situation-wise. So I'm not really going to go through that again. I'm just going to go ahead and jump straight to suggestions. And if you guys missed last week's little update on what's kind of going on, I'm not going to be uploading consistently as if I was before. But, yeah, things are happening. And that music might be a little bit too loud, so I'm just going to drop it down a little bit and turn it down on my headphones because that is way too loud. Let's see. Yeah, things are going on in life. Things are very difficult for me. I'm not going to be uploading on any form of like uniform schedule. I might throw a few Universe Sandbox 2 videos up. I did start the Astroneer series back up, but since I'm on my laptop, I don't have that save file that I started with like a week ago. So I'd have to start again, and it only got like 100 views, so I don't know. All my other videos, including just uploading a 30-second video of a frog, got like 400 plus, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and avoid the Astroneer series. Maybe play that on my own time, or I don't know what to do with that. I'm sure some people enjoyed it, but I mean, if it's not really going to pull in any views, then I'm not going to say it's like not worth my time, but I don't know. I have very limited time I could be dedicating to YouTube, and I'd rather dedicate it to like what people would want to watch, you know? And that seems like it's a SpaceEngine Exploration series and probably Universe Sandbox 2 stuff. So I'm gonna mainly stick to that. I'm kind of lacking in Universe Sandbox 2 suggestions. Like, I'm sure I can go search the comments like way back when and probably find a few. But if you guys want to post some of those in the comments, I will be very likely to check them out. I'm basically just gonna check out whatever people suggest. That's kind of within reason. Anyways, let's move on to the SpaceEngine Exploration suggestions. The first one is from Deck Bro. Let's go ahead and paste this in, remove the question mark, and here we go. No description, as Decaro does. We got a desert with life, purple life it looks like, and we are kind of toward the center of a galaxy, another quasar. Yep, we are in the center of a quasar galaxy, so, yeah, I can't imagine this life is doing too well. Let's go ahead and just touch down here and check out what the life looks like. So I was reading the news threads, like June 26th, I think it was, the latest post for the, on the homepage of the SpaceEngine website, and it looks like 9.9.0 is getting pretty close to release. I did see some comments saying it should release this summer, but I mean, it was also supposed to release before the end of last year, and probably sometime before that. So it's kind of one of those, like, wait until it happens, when it's ready kind of things, not really expect a set release date. Unless there's like some type of inside information on that, but yeah, I'm basically just keeping my expectations low on the release date, but I'm keeping my expectations high on the product that's going to ship, because I'm sure Space Engineer, or whatever he goes by, the guy who makes Space Engine, I'm sure he's going to release it when it's like ready by his standards, you know? So, yeah. I feel like mentioning 9.9.0 in one of my videos, I got like 10,000 views, kind of hyped it up and built some kind of false expectations, so I don't know. There's not really too much to talk about with Space Engine 9.9.0. The nebulas, of course, new shading effects. The camera track will be super cool when it comes to like beauty of Space Engine and all that kind of stuff. I kind of want to do another series like that, but I don't want to call it Beauty of Space Engine. It's going to be kind of like the same thing, but I'm thinking like, I don't know, instead of just raw footage of Space Engine, like some edited and colored footage or something like that. Yeah, I'm thinking something along those lines. I think it would be a really cool series. I can't really do it on this computer because I'm playing at 720p just to be able to run this game, and even then it's still pretty jittery, as you could probably see there. Or maybe not, because it's running like 30 FPS. But yeah, not on this computer. I plan on buying a new laptop in the future, possibly, maybe, depending on how things go with the whole living situation thing, where I can hopefully like record Space Engine a little bit better than even my desktop, because my desktop's running a Ryzen CPU, which is really cool. Like, it's a very powerful CPU, don't get me wrong, 8 cores, 16 threads. It's a monster when it comes to productivity tasks, but the problem is it doesn't really have the core performance, which Space Engine really does favor. Like, my overclocked i5 that I had when I started this channel was definitely better, like, toward like the center of galaxies and that kind of stuff. And I think it would be cool to get like an Intel CPU, like laptop or something like that, that has like 6 cores. You know, a very good compromise, like a Coffee Lake CPU or something like that. But something that's like a very good compromise to what I'm essentially running in my main desktop right now. So here's that quasar. Incredibly bright. And as, of course, it's a standard black hole. Of course, I said I wouldn't fly to the center of these things. Yeah, I don't know if that planet's safe. I know the beams from these are very narrow, but quasars are also incredibly powerful and very, very bright. So if I zoom out of this galaxy, it might be... yeah, it's very brightly illuminated compared to all these other galaxies we're flying past. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next suggestion, which is from Alien Omhi, something like that. It's a ring titan. Make sure to turn on orbits to see the weird axial tilt. One sec. I'll read that in a moment. Okay. To check out its axial tilt compared to the only major moon it has. Okay. Looks like we have a comet over there. Or a burning planet. Here is the Titan. No life. Does have a lot of craters, a lot of massive craters, and a beautiful ring system, and there's its moon. Actually, that moon is kind of similar to like the distance of Earth's moon from Earth. It's not orbiting like right up close like they normally do in this game. Of course, Earth's moon's kind of more like way out here in comparison to Earth, or even like way out here. It's pretty far from Earth, but I mean, when it comes to large moons, this one is a decent distance away from the planet, which is kind of unusual for Space Engine, to be honest. At least when it comes to like terrestrial worlds. I mean, gas giants can generate moons like damn near across like the solar system. So let's see. I assume this is its rotational plane, where the rings are, of course. And if we go ahead and turn on... oh, wait, that's the wrong thing. Actually, I'm going to turn that on, too. Just for, like, a little bit more graphing. It looks like a dual planetary system. No, the central point of orbit is not, like, outside of the diameter of the planet, but it's nearly a dual planetary system. And I think that's its major moon over there. That could just be an asteroid. Ah, there's its major moon. So, yeah, it's basically a polar orbit. Which means if we go ahead and land on like the pole here, it's going to do kind of the same thing the sun does when I meant to land on the other pole. It's going to do kind of the same thing I think the sun does Actually, it might just do that on the equator. Let's go ahead and land here. See if we can spot that large moon real quick. There it is. Okay, let's find some land. I don't think that volcano is going to work. Nah, here we go. This will work, I think. So if we do this, the moon's not going to fully set. It's just going to... Oh, we got to really touch down on the planet. Yeah, it's not going to fully set. It's going to kind of just move up and down along the horizon. And it's going to go under. Okay. Maybe it might be at the poles where that would happen. It'd only do that for like a month period at a time. Since I don't have it at the right time of the year, I'm just going to go ahead and turn up the ambient lighting. Okay, so let's touch down at the pole. Let's locate that major moon again. It might have been a month, or, well, a month in terms of this planet. Where is that moon? Ah, there it is. Okay, no, I was just looking in the wrong area. Slam down right here again. Ah, there it is. So now if we watch it, I don't think it's ever gonna fully set. I guess it is, but it's gonna pop right back up. I'm sure if I was like a little bit in, like at the right angle, we'd be able to see it set and all that, but it's gonna do all sorts of weird things. It's not just gonna rotate around the planet like it normally would because Earth is rotating. Instead, it's gonna do weird stuff because it's in a polar orbit. While for Earth, the moon's not quite in like a direct like line with the equator, but it's pretty close. Let's see if I can locate that major moon again. There it is. As I was saying, it's not like in a direct line with the equator of Earth, but for the most part, it, like, as Earth rotates, the moon doesn't really like move up and down like the sun would at the near the poles at certain points of the year. Instead, it just kind of sets just like the sun does. It rises at one end and sets in the other. Since this is a polar orbit, we're going to get all sorts of weird stuff going on with the rotation of the planet. So in this case, now it's just kind of rotating in a circle. Like a little circle shape around here. Rather than like going all the way across the sky and setting on that end, rising from that end, setting on that end. It's just moving in a circle. And we're pretty close to the equator right now. So yeah, it's pretty cool. But as you can see, compared to like this asteroid here, it's moving completely polar pretty much. A little bit of tilt, but basically polar. So I assume we are in Triangulum. Yes, we are. I was able to tell because we have Andromeda looking at us over there. And we're in a purplish galaxy. Let's go ahead and turn off all these charts and graphs and doohickeys. And let's go ahead and pause time before this computer explodes. This next one is from a random person. He says, Frozen Titan that has a moon that causes eclipses that encompass almost the entire planet. Let's go ahead and paste this in. And here we go. To the Milky Way. Oh, that looks weird because I still have the lighting tweaked. Let's go ahead and default this. There we go. A lovely blue atmosphere. Frozen Titan. And there's its moon. Looks like we caught it just in time. Let's go ahead and slow down time a little bit and speed it up. Well, I'm not seeing the eclipse yet. Sure, it'll hit eventually. Oh, there it goes. Slow down time, reverse it, speed it back up, and pause. There we go. An eclipse that basically takes up the entire planet, as mentioned. So I assume if we touch down in the center here, hopefully not landing in the ocean, we can look up, and we can't even see the solar flares from the parenting star. It looks like the moon does have an atmosphere, though. You can see this white band around it. Let's just go ahead and zoom back out. And let's fly over to this moon. Oh, whoa, there's the sun. Or parenting star, rather. I'm sure if I changed the field of view, I could have got that to work. And if we touch down on this planet... I can't really see the atmosphere. We'll just go ahead and click on it. Yeah, nitrogen and methane. So, cold materials, but it is a frozen Selena, while this is a frozen Titan. If we smack down into the center here again, look up at the parenting moon, might be able to adjust our field of view. Possibly see those flares? No, I don't think we're going to be able to. Okay, let's default the field of view. And get off this planet. So, cool little system. No life or anything like that I can tell. Does it have life? We got a bunch of planets with life. But I don't think it's either of these two. Oh, it looks like I have clouds disabled. Let's go ahead and turn those back on. There we go. So we were missing a little bit by having those clouds disabled. I don't think that's what prevented us from seeing the atmosphere, though. Yeah. But we might be able to see something more on the Titan, perhaps, like some orange clouds. Let's go ahead and zoom in here. Yeah, there's a little cyclone there of probably some very cold materials. Let's go ahead and touch down right at the edge of this. There we go. See just the beginning of this eclipse with this crazy lens flare effect. Alright, so let's go and move on to the next suggestion. There's not too many suggestions here. This one is from Black Creeper. Of course it's a black hole. The thing I said I wasn't going to visit in this episode, but here we go, a black hole. See if this laptop just dies. Okay, so it's not one with like an accretion disk and a billion things hovering around it. So what's up with this black hole? This is a black hole. Okay. Interesting thing is that it's pretty close to a star, but there is another star, and the black hole is kind of buried center of these stars. Also, it's in a galaxy that is kind of on the edge of the generated universe. Okay, so we have a black hole that is apparently in the buried center of a couple of stars. So, okay, that's a big star. That's a tiny black hole. There's the buried center, very, very close to the black hole, which would make me assume, since this is 300 masses of the sun, the max mass for a star in this game, this is only 23 masses of the sun. So there's kind of your explanation of why the buried center is so close to the black hole. The black hole is crazy dense compared to, or not crazy dense, but crazy massive, well, also crazy dense, compared to this very expanded, possibly dying star. It is a supergiant, so I guess that technically makes it a supernova contender. And I don't see any other stars in the system. I think they mentioned there was more than one star, but I only see one here. Unless this is like a binary. Let's go and bring up the charts here. No, it looks like just 2 stars in the system. Okay. So there's kind of your explanation for that. The black hole does have some stuff orbiting around it, including a debris disk. And I don't know. I just selected there. It says buried center. That's not what I. What's this bright thing? I don't even know. Let's just visit it and see what happens. Oh. Oh. I thought those were stars for a second. No, it's 2 Selenas just kind of orbiting each other, and I selected the buried center of these 2 Selenas. Okay. And then, as you can see, there is like an entire system of planets all around these 2 massive objects. And that dying star is so hot and so bright that it's illuminating this planet from way over here. And this is sitting a distance of, if I can find it, some major axis, 105 astronomical units. That is distance between Earth and the Sun, times 105. For reference, Pluto, I think, is 29 or 39 astronomical units away from Earth, or from the Sun, rather. So, yeah, that's incredibly far away. But if we go over to this one is an insane 227 astronomical units, and it is still sitting at 598 degrees. And it is illuminated probably brighter than Earth from that star way over there. So that just kind of gives you the crazy scale of this system. Anyways, let's go and move on to the next suggestion, which is from Mr. Star Wars. Let's paste this in, no question mark this time, and here we go. Cool Terra with life. The description is, a double eclipse can happen on this world. And he even gave me a timestamp. Let's see if that pastes in successfully. If not, then I'm probably not going to bother, to be honest. I'm sorry. Let's get rid of the question mark. And one eclipse. One eclipse. Just go ahead and... Oh, there we go. 2 eclipses. Okay. So this is interesting. I didn't know this game actually did this. At least, I don't think I did. Might have noticed it before, but I completely forgot. Okay, first off, we have a ring. You can kind of see the shadows there, right there, and we're kind of flying through them. So, that aside, we got 2 shadows here. But if you notice, the shadows are different. This one's a little bit more diffused, this one's a little bit sharper. That's because this moon is closer and that one is further away. I don't recall the game doing this, but apparently it will diffuse shadows based on their distance from the planet, and that is very cool. I know there are some video card, like, NVIDIA has a technology for this. It's called NVIDIA PCSS, I think, which is its own type of shadows that is part of GameWorks or whatever. It's basically accelerated and exclusive to NVIDIA GPUs, but it can't run on AMD GPUs. It's just not going to run as well, blah, blah, blah. Where it kind of does this distance approximation. So if you have, like, a tree facing straight vertical, there's the sun basically setting. As you get closer to the trunk of the tree, the shadow gets sharper, and as you get closer to the tip of the tree, on the shadow, of course, it gets a lot more diffused and blurrier. Well, that's kind of what's going on here. But I didn't know this engine did that, and that's pretty cool. So, that's a neat effect. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted me to visit on this world. I think it has life. Yeah, it does have life. So we can go ahead and just touch down on the edge of this and look up at the sun. I like that bloom effect. That looks very good. Got some bumpy mountains here with a little bit of frozen peaks on them. Let's go ahead and touch down right here. And we got some grassy terrain, it looks like. Yes, we do. I have the video settings really low because this laptop has the potential to basically achieve nuclear fission, so I keep the video settings low to keep it stable so it doesn't explode and take all of us with it. So yeah, and also just keeping the video settings low reduces crashing. So let's go ahead and touch down at the sharp one here and see if there's any real difference between looking at the sun. I wouldn't say there really is, other than you can just tell this moon is obviously much closer. And I assume it's going to look a lot sharper in the sky. We're not going to get like this very large gradient. It's going to be a much smaller gradient. So if we go back to that one and look at the atmosphere, I assume the gradient will span across the atmosphere a lot further. And as you can see, it does. It's a lot darker for a longer distance. So that's pretty cool. Anyways, Spudtato says, what's the music at 4258? Is that SpaceEngine's own soundtrack or something else? I do not use SpaceEngine's soundtrack. In fact, I had to copy the music over to this laptop so I can make this recording. This is from Stellardrone. I put a link to their music down in the description. It's what is it through? I wanted to say SoundCloud. It's not SoundCloud. Shoot. Let me see here. I have it on the hard drive. I copy paste the SpaceEngine Exploration description every single time from a text document. Bandcamp, that's what it was on the tip of my tongue. Yeah, Bandcamp. So yeah, I have a link to their Bandcamp down in the description where you can check out their music and possibly support the artist. And yeah, I make sure to credit them in the description of every video. So if you want to check out their music, there is the link. It's really nice music and it really fits the series very well. The reason why I don't use SpaceEngine's default music is because the last time, or like the very first episode, there's a good 10-minute portion or like 5-minute portion where it sounds like utter crap. That's because I had to use YouTube's tool to remove the song from it because it got claimed. And I think that's happened on every single SpaceEngine Exploration video that I did with the music. And I think episode 2 I decided to go with no music, where the terrible USB Audio-Technica AT2020 really shined in how crappy it was. I don't recommend the USB version of that mic. The XLR version is much nicer. That mic was, I don't know if it was just mine, it was defective or something, but don't get the USB version of the AT2020. Get a Yeti or something if you're gonna go USB, or the ATR2100. The ATR2100 I probably recommend more than the Yeti because it's like 60 bucks, and in my opinion sounds a little bit better. But yeah, the USB version of the AT2020 is kind of crap. The XLR version I'm sure is absolutely amazing though. So if you could just get like a cheap mixer like the Q502 from Behringer and pair it up with an AT2020, I'm sure that thing sounds beautiful. Anyways, now that I'm kind of rambling about audio crap, let's go ahead and move on to the next suggestion, which is from Cosmic Wanderer. Let's go ahead and select this ID here. Paste it in. This temperate desert is one of many moons orbiting a ring Titan. Its relatively habitable temperature makes it a pretty good place to set up camp and observe the parent Titan in the sky. There's also 2 more Titans orbiting around a triple red dwarf, and it's part of a quadruple star system. We're in the Carina Nebula? I think we're in the Carina Nebula. This looks suspiciously like the Carina Nebula, and that looks a lot like the Milky Way. Okay, well, before I do anything, where is a bright object that looks like a plume of gas known as ETA or Eta Carinae, I think, or Carina? I don't know how this is pronounced. Is it Eta? I've heard it pronounced Eta, which just doesn't like mentally click with me as like the right pronunciation. Also heard Eta, and yeah, something about that just doesn't sound right. I don't know if it's like abbreviating something like ETA. I've always just kind of said ETA, but I don't know. Like on SciShow, I think they called it like Eta Carina or something like that. Okay, well, I don't see it. I'm trying to find it. I don't see it. We do got a dual sun thingy going on there, and looks like 1 star right there. Let's go ahead and just touch down on this planet, which is a temperate desert. The temperate desert has an atmosphere of sulfur dioxide, which makes me think it is not a very good place to set camp just due to the atmosphere being very toxic. It's also tidally locked with this planet right here, and that's kind of weird. When I look away from these planets and look back, you see that? Just take my focus off of it, and boom. Looks like a gas giant at first. It's not like rendering the texture or something. The game is also getting very laggy, which tells me it's probably gonna crash soon, perhaps. So, yeah, I wouldn't really want to survive on this planet. It's rather cold, not too cold. And the atmosphere is sulfur dioxide. I guess if you had a suit, you would probably be fine. The atmospheric pressure is not too great. But yeah, not really a place I would want to definitely live, that's for sure. But I guess it is kind of a habitable temperature. I'm sure there's places where it's like an acceptable temperature to survive at, but you're not getting away without a suit there, for sure. We got a cold Titan here. Nitrogen and CO2, carbon dioxide. Okay, I'm thinking that texture thing that's going on right now is perhaps the fact that this video card inside this laptop does not have as much RAM as my desktop, perhaps, or it could just be due to my lower settings. So what do you want me to check out? This temperate desert around the Ring Titan is relatively habitable temperature, makes a pretty good setup camp, and observe the parent Titan in the sky. There's also 2 more Titans orbiting around a triple red star. Okay. So, triple red dwarfs. Let's go ahead and just select this. It's a yellow subject. Oh, okay, yeah, the game's getting ready to crash. I could tell by the flickering. That's not good. So we got that. We got a frozen gas giant, pretty large. Zooming out. I guess we could just back out here. Okay, so we got 2 stars here, 1 star here. Let's go ahead and zoom into this, see if it explodes. Okay, so there's 2 stars orbiting each other in a binary, which are orbiting with the star that I saw next to it. We got 2 stars here. And I assume this is a binary pair over here. Okay, that's binary 1. I don't know what I'm looking at right now, but that might be a star. It's just not rendered in because my video card is probably out of RAM. And then we have 1 larger star here, so I assume those are binary orbits with each other right there. Orbiting with 1 single star, and then another single large star over here. And that entire system's orbiting around, so I assume that's what's going on, but it's not really rendering too great because things are about to explode. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and deselect things, maybe turn off the orbit map, and just back away slowly. Okay, that was rather quickly, I'm sorry. Oh, and here's that Wolf Riot star I was looking for at the beginning. So we'll zoom into this, and the game will probably just crash. Just go ahead and Control G into it. So, yeah, these are a little bright. I hope, okay, so this is the Wolf Riot star. No, that's a blue main sequence star. That's the Wolf Riot star. I don't know how I can express visually that these are bright. So, I apologize if, you know, you don't get a kind of idea of how insanely bright these stars are just based on looking at them. But Wolf Riot stars and blue main sequence stars tend to be pretty bright. So yeah, that's kind of why you can see this binary pair all the way outside of the Carina Nebula and very, very, very far beyond. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the next suggestion before it explodes. We got one more suggestion from Oshi Jack. It's 48 PER. I don't know what that is, but we'll paste it in. Go ahead and get rid of the question mark, and here we go. 48 Persei. Persei. And it's a star. Consisting of 10 masses of the sun. It's a blue main sequence star. Pretty bright. I like this lens flare effect, the vertical one here. Mixed with like a ton of bloom. I don't know any information relating to this star, or any history or background of it. And it doesn't have a system orbiting around it because it is a manually placed star in the game. Or, well, cataloged. So I'll just quickly type the name into Google and approximately the 500th brightest star, brightest of the visible stars in apparent magnitude, well known for its complex spectrum of light and velocity variations. Has a BE star. I don't know what that means. It's a BE star. I'm reading a Wikipedia page, which I get a lot of flack for. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. It is hot and blue, spinning so rapidly it forms an unstably... Oh, Does it mean it's like one of those kind of oblong shaped stars, like the ones that rotate very fast and get like a oval shape to it? I didn't really check it out. It's got a little bit of an oval shape to it. You can see like the horizon there kind of distorts as I spin around. It's not a perfect ball. So it is a rapidly rotating star. Let's see if I can get up close to it, and let's turn down the exposure significantly so we can see like the actual details of the star. Like I want to see the surface details. There we go. Now we're getting a bit better. So if I go ahead and set this to real time, well, we can't see it move in real time, it looks like, but this is a very, very large star, so it's kind of expected. 3 times real time, still not really seeing movement. And there's a little bit, I can see it like slightly moving if I look at the bottom of the screen. Skip it over to 10 times. Nope, still not really much movement there. 30. There we go. We'll go to 100 times real time, we can see it rotating. But this is a very large mass and it's a very large volume, so I mean, relatively speaking, this is a very rapid rotation. And I guess that's enough to make it kind of oval shaped. It's not the most like oblate star that I've seen, but yeah. Whoa, that looks very weird when you have the exposure turned down. It has like a reddish color to it. Let's go ahead and zoom out. Yeah, it's definitely not the most oblate star that I've seen. They definitely get a lot more oval shape than this. And obviously something like a neutron star, which is very small but super dense, being the core of a star, the center is going to rotate a lot faster than the outer diameter of it. So a neutron star rotates very rapidly. Let's see if I could just type in PSR real quick. Oh, GG PSR. And here we go. Let's go ahead and close that before the game explodes. And here is a pulsar with an accretion disk as a bonus. You can see that it's bending light, and I crashed into it. And we were torn apart rapidly in the collision of the star. In fact, if we were even this close, we'd be very violently torn apart and atomized. Oh, spinning very rapidly. Now this is so bright that even that exposure where we were able to see the surface of that one star isn't enough to see the surface details of this pulsar, but these have multiple textures that kind of overlap each other in the rotation, which makes for a pretty cool effect if I can get the exposure low enough. Nope, that is the absolute lowest I can set the exposure to. So I can't even get this dim enough to see the details of this pulsar. As you can see, the accretion disk is spinning very rapidly. Okay, so this is real time. Look at how rapid that accretion disk is just warping and spinning under us. Let's see if I can find a different pulsar that is not as bright. That's another one with a lovely accretion disk, so that's kind of cool. Just go ahead and scroll down the list and pick one at random here. You know, I might be thinking of white dwarfs that you're able to see the surface of. And if I touch down on it, you can see that we are spinning very rapidly. Like, very, very rapidly. And this is real time. This is how fast the star is spinning. Of course, the star is about the size of, like, a mountain. Or... what'd be a good comparison? The diameter of, like, a large airport, perhaps? It's... yeah, it's not that big. But it's like the entire mass of a star, pretty much. It's 2 masses of the sun inside this very dense little, very bright ball. So, basically all that condensed mass spinning at the rotational velocity of what the star was before makes it spin very rapidly. So, yeah, there you go. Anyways, we're out of suggestions and I'm rambling a bunch, so I think that is the end of this episode. If you guys like the video, please subscribe, and until next time, I will see you in the next video.